You ever stop and think about how you went from being just a single cell to, well, you? A complex person with trillions of cells? Or how a cut on your finger just seems to magically heal itself? The secret to all of it is this incredible, microscopic dance called cell division. So let's dive in and see how it all works. Here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with why we even need two types of division. Then we'll break down mitosis, I call it the copy machine. After that, we'll look at meiosis, the variety generator. Then it's time for the showdown, putting them head to head. And finally, we'll wrap up with why any of this really matters. All right, so our bodies are constantly on the job, making new cells for all sorts of reasons. And that brings up a really big question. Yeah, how does a cell get its marching orders? Is it supposed to churn out a perfect clone of itself to help heal some skin? Or is its mission to create a totally unique cell for reproduction? It turns out the mission completely dictates the method. And the answer comes down to two incredible but very different processes: mitosis and meiosis. They might share a few steps here and there, but believe me, their final goals and their results are worlds apart. First up, let's talk about mitosis. The best way to think about this one, it's like your body's own super advanced high-fidelity photocopier. Its only job is to make exact replicas. And that is absolutely essential for growing and for repairing tissues every single day. So the bottom line here is that mitosis creates two daughter cells that are genetically identical, perfect clones of the parent cell. It is all about consistency, making sure every new cell is a perfect copy for the good of the organism. So how does this copying process actually happen? Well, first, the cell meticulously copies every single strand of its DNA. Each chromosome basically makes an identical twin of itself, and they stick together. You can think of it like making a backup of a file before you move it. Okay, next up, everything gets super neat and tidy. All those duplicated chromosomes line up, single file, right down the center of the cell. This is super important to make sure the split that's coming is perfectly even. And now for the main event. The identical chromosome twins are pulled apart, with one copy going to each side of the cell. Then the cell starts to pinch in the middle, and eventually divides into two separate new cells, each one with a complete and totally identical set of DNA. And what do you get at the end of all that? Two brand new, perfect genetic copies of the original cell. We call these diploid cells, which just means they have a full set of chromosomes. This is how you grow, how your skin replaces itself, how you heal. It's literally the engine that builds and maintains you. Now for something completely different. If mitosis is a copy machine, then meiosis, well, it's more like a slot machine. Its goal isn't to create clones at all. It's to shuffle the genetic deck and create brand new variety for sexual reproduction. The endgame for meiosis is totally different. We're aiming to produce 4 unique cells. These are the sex cells, or gametes. And here's the kicker. Each of these cells has only half the number of chromosomes as the parent cell. This is absolutely critical for reproduction. And the first big division of meiosis, something truly amazing happens. The chromosomes pair up with their partners and, get this, they literally exchange pieces of DNA. This process is called crossing over, and it creates completely new combinations of genes that never existed before. And that shuffling is the main reason why every single person, unless you're an identical twin, is genetically unique. It's evolution happening in real time, right at the microscopic level. So after that first round of shuffling and splitting, the two new cells divide a second time. Now, this part looks a lot more like mitosis, where the sister chromatids get pulled apart. But, and this is a huge but, thanks to that crossing over, these chromatids are no longer identical copies. And the final tally, 4 completely unique daughter cells. We call these haploid cells, meaning each one has just half the genetic information of the original. Every single one is a unique genetic cocktail, ready for the possibility of creating a new life. All right, we've seen them both in action. Now, let's put mitosis and meiosis side by side in a head-to-head showdown to really make the differences crystal clear. Yeah, when you see them laid out like this, the difference is just, wow, it's night and day, right? Mitosis is this clean, simple, one-step process that gives you 2 identical cells. And then you have meiosis, this complex 2-step dance that ends with 4 very different results. Let's just run through the stats. For purpose, mitosis is for growth and repair, meiosis is for sexual reproduction. How many divisions? Mitosis does it in 1 round. Meiosis needs 2. What about crossing over, that crucial gene shuffling step? Nope, doesn't happen in mitosis, but it's the star of the show in meiosis. And the final score. Mitosis gives you 2 identical diploid cells. Meiosis gives you 4 unique haploid cells. So we've gotten into the nitty-gritty, but why? What's the big picture here? Why does our body even need these 2 totally separate, really complex systems for making new cells? It really boils down to this. Mitosis is for the individual, for you. It makes sure that the skin cell on your arm has the exact same genetic rulebook as a cell in your liver. It's all about maintaining you. Meiosis, though, that's for the species. It's what creates genetic diversity, which allows a whole population to adapt to change, fight off disease, and evolve over millions of years. One process is for stability. The other is for possibility. And that leaves us with something pretty profound to think about. Every single time meiosis happens, it's a brand new roll of the genetic dice, creating possibilities that have never existed before. This constant generation of variety is the fuel for all evolution. So, as our world keeps changing, what does this endless reservoir of genetic possibility really mean for the future of life itself?